Hey, Kimberly Akimbo fans. Annie Morrison here. It's been a while since I've done anything on any social media, and that's because I've been living my life. I forgot to inform you about it. I got really fascinated by talking to our crew on this Broadway national tour of Kimberly Akimbo. Because I've never really seen any footage anywhere of what a load in and a load out for a traveling touring company goes through, what the crew has to do. Now, I've known they've set up cameras so you can watch in a quick time a set being put in, but you don't really get to see all the moving parts of it. The best I can do is very crudely interview each of the crew of Kimberly Akimbo on this national tour because I want to know their perspectives and their roles of putting in a show and putting it back out again. And let's just have some fun. So tell me what you do in Kimberly Akimbo on tour.
Okay, so I am the star dresser. So what I do is I make sure the star is hydrated. I make sure the star is clothed and stays upright. That's pretty much what I do. I'm not quite an assistant because my duties are limited to wardrobe, so specifically costumes and anything having to do with that in the dressing room. So costume changes are mine, any repairs that are happening, if an earring flies off, things of that nature. It's kind of relegated to that. But for the most part, that's pretty much it. It's pretty just focused on the star of the show, which would be Kimberly in this case.
Do you sometimes have to set a costume prop somewhere or take a costume prop or besides just dressing them?
Rarely do I touch props. There's only a few things, and I think they're carried over from Broadway possibly. So the cup in the locker, I don't know when you actually use it, but there's a cup in a locker.
Yeah.
I set that
Okay.
just because I know how much water goes in there,
Right.
and you are specifically the only one who touches it. So I handle that. There's a backpack handoff later in the show. I think at the top of Act 2, or like not far into Act 2 that I do, because again, that's handing it off to you. So that's mine. And then technically we have a purse that is also a prop. So that would be also for me to hand to you.
Right.
So anything that you use exclusively typically runs through my hands.
Okay.
But in terms of other props of that nature, I really don't touch props, hands-off props most of the time.
Okay. So now let's, the focus of this is like the load in and the load out. So what is your role? Let's just talk about loading in a show.
Okay.
When do you come into the whole load in process and begin your job?
My call time for load-in is 12:30. So I come in about 6.5 hours, sometimes 4.5, depending on what time they start, after load-in begins, because we can't do our job in wardrobe until the truck boxes are off the truck.
Right.
So by the time I get there, we have all of our work boxes for our offices downstairs typically. All of the gondolas for Gondola Row are out, typically accessible, and then yours is also, the Kim gondola is also accessible
What's
as well.
a gondola?
A gondola, how do I think about like a traveling closet. It's essentially this big box, and it has a bar in it. And so everything, depending on like whose costumes, we put them all in there. We have shoes in there. What else? Vodka spray in there.
Because she's an alcoholic.
Yes. Yeah, we do vodka spray to sanitize everything every night. I'm trying to think what else. Jewelry, extra items that you might need, hangers, things of that nature, all go in a gondola. So for Kim specifically, Kim gets her own gondola because she's the star, but she also has a lot of foot traffic that is very different than everyone else in the cast. Whereas the ensemble will share gondolas. So I think it's like 2 to a gondola for this show.
There's also sometimes the swings costumes are in there too.
Yes, so swings get their own gondola together as well. So Usually, and I've seen this on other shows, the swings will have a swing gondola. So it's easy to pull from, you know where they are. I'm trying to think. I think, yeah. So swing gondolas are a thing, but they still have the same setup as a normal gondola.
Right. So you come in, and what do you do once the boxes are all out?
Once they're out, we will meet up with the local crew. Catherine, my supervisor, will go over the spiel for the show, what we're going to do for the day. And then I break off. So Catherine and I actually don't work very closely during load in because we have separate duties.
Right.
So I'll set up whoever is the laundry local. I'll give them the playbook for the day. I'll let them know the loads of laundry that have to get done for the day so we can be show ready. I let them know where they need to pass out the clean laundry for the upcoming show that night because we do have a show right after load in. Let's see what else. I do that, and then I break off, and then I go set up the star dressing room. So I pretty much unpack everything in the star dressing room in terms of makeup, any comfort items. I go through the dressing room, see if there's a thermostat that's actually working. I'll check and see if the room is clean itself or if it needs a little wipe down, or if there are things that just need to be fixed. I basically do quality control on the dressing room first, and then I unpack. Mm-hmm. The star dressing room also has a star box, which has a little mini fridge and a microwave, just that we travel around in its own case. So I'll set that up, and that's pretty much the extent of doing the dressing room. And then we'll go into the gondola. So I pull things out of the gondola. Typically when we get there, the gondolas are not set on deck yet, which is, behind the stage, or if there's a crossover space in the crossover. Our gondola for Kim is typically set on stage right. So that gets a little funky sometimes depending on how the loaded is going for the deck carps and props and everything of that nature. So wherever that is at the time, I'll just go in and start pulling things out of it just so I can get some work done while we're waiting. So I will typically grab the dirty shirts from the city before. So we have 2 sets of shirts. I'll get those out the way so they can go to laundry. I will pull everything that needs to be steamed, and I'll take that to the dressing room to steam. I will... What do I do? I'll pull shoes. Whatever shoes need to be in the dressing room, I'll take those. I will also pull out the steamer, because that travels in the gondola. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my
Do you deal with the skates at that time too? The ice skates?
I usually don't touch skates until everything is set on deck. And I usually don't do that only because I don't mess with them or set them until skate call later that day once we come in for the show call. So skates pretty much live in the gondola until then.
Does she have her skates in her own gondola, or is there a gondola for skates, or a box of skates?
Skates travel in the gondola, so in Kim's gondola. Okay, so everything that is a Kim item travels in the Kim gondola.
Got it. Okay, great. Okay. And then you get ready for the show, you do the show, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So what happens when we now have to load out?
I basically do everything backwards. Yeah, I pretty much do everything backwards. So what will happen is Star will come in, get undressed. I'm spraying and sanitizing everything down. As the show goes along during the night, I'm usually slowly packing things away anyway. So by the time we get to the end of the show, curtain down, there are 2 hangers left in the dressing room, just for what Kim is wearing. And then I will take that, what she's wearing. Once it's on the hanger, I will take the shoes that she has, and the dirty laundry bag, and I will leave you to pack up the rest of your personal items for your basket. I will then take everything and kind of just load it into the gondola, and then I'll take laundry to the laundry person to pack away for traveling. And
you also take her mic Or
yes, and I take the mic. Yeah. So I I have like a little deal with audio. So I just grab your mic and I hand it off to them because they usually wait right outside the door. That way they don't have to come in and disturb you or anything like that. So I just grab that and plop that out, and then I go and just double check that I have everything for the gondola, and then I close the gondola. So loadout is pretty quick because I'm able to pack as I go during the show.
Right.
So typically by the time we're like halfway through Act 2, all the costumes except for what you're wearing is in the gondola, and I'm just waiting for the last song to break down anything that is around or in the gondola. So we have a table in the gondola, we have hooks and clamps in the gondola. I'll take those down, and a traveling curtain that we have as well for privacy. Okay. So that doesn't come down until later in the night.
And that probably goes in the same box as all the wardrobe stuff when they put it on the truck.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. And then you're done.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. You don't have to stay all the way through the night.
Nope. Yeah. Wardrobe has a record of, I think, 4 minutes of loadout. It's pretty quick.
Wow.
It's pretty quick. It's the quickest loadout that I've ever done on any show.
Wow.
I'm not mad about it at all.
No, not at all. You can go home and rest.
Yeah. Compared to the rest of the departments, our loadout is so fast. We actually get sleep for the night. So we don't have to push any boxes. We just have to close up what we have. And then I think props and the deck carts take care of loading up the truck. So we don't have anything to do with loading anything. Okay. Or unloading. Okay.
And then you have an order of how that goes, so they know immediately when it's time to go. It's all done and ready to go. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you can think about?
Not really. It's pretty straightforward, which is nice. It's a nice routine.
Do you enjoy this kind of work?
I do enjoy it.
I can tell. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I will say I do miss like actually getting my hands on costumes. So I used to work in a costume shop. Right. So I miss like doing projects. This show is set in the 90s, in 99. So it's just jeans and t-shirts and like hoodies, which is totally fine for a laundry standpoint.
Or when the actress splits the zipper. There's something you can do.
That too. But I used to like construct costumes and everything in Nashville. Right. So I'm from Nashville. Well, my local's in Nashville. So I had to find other ways to kind of keep my hands busy and not lose the skills that I've gained. But I do miss sometimes just putting my headphones on and like building a costume. I do miss that a little bit.
Maybe you should build a costume for some other show or whatever, that you can build your own costume to wear it later.
Oh my goodness, that would be hilarious.
Maybe I'll commission you to make me a dress. How's that? There you go.
You have materials with you already?
No. I thought we just used leftover material from the show. I'm sure they'd let you do that. Well, thank you so much. It's delightful. This would be helpful because there are a lot of technical students who are looking where they might want to fit in, and the role of being a wardrobe might be really a fun thing to do on the road.
It is fun. And I will say, for people who are like, oh, do I need to know how to sew to be on wardrobe? You don't. Okay. There are plenty of people who make wardrobe their bread and butter, and they don't sew at all.
Oh, okay.
I will say it is helpful, because if there's like small repairs that need to be done, you can do them yourself. Right. I find it's easier to know how to do it just because on the off chance, well, not the off chance, but on the chance that you get like a larger show that has a day, what is it? Day work, like a day work call, right. Or has heavier costumes that have more repairs because the stress of the costumes are a bit hard on the material. Right. It's good to know how to do that. There are jobs as stitchers as well, which is basically like what it sounds like, stitching together costumes, but also like repairing costumes, which still falls under wardrobe. Right. So there are different layers that you can do. Like specifically for what I do, it's not required of me to do, but it's a great skill to have. So I would say that's something to think about. Right. But it's not mandatory at all. Yeah.
That's great. How did you finally get into wardrobe?
fell into wardrobe. I kind of just like looked up one day and I was like, oh, I've been doing this for 7 years. I went to school at Belmont University and I got my BFA in theater performance. So I originally was going to act. And I ended up working in the costume shop while I was there. So there's a certain course that you have to hit, like all the shops in front of house. So they teach you about all the things that you can do in a theater. For example, like if you're a theater major, like a performance major, they're like, you can act, that's great. But what happens if you don't get a part? Be useful in other ways so you can at least get your foot in the door with a theater that you're passionate about working with. So I saw that they had that when I was touring the school, and I was like, ooh, that sounds fun. I had a neighbor when I was younger teach my dad how to make my mom a robe. She had a little sewing studio in her basement, and so I remembered that, and I was like, I want to learn how to sew. So I ended up apprenticing with an independent seamstress in Baltimore for a year. Well, not a year, a summer, before I went to school at Belmont. And so because I knew how to use a machine, when I ended up in the course and I went down to the costume shop teacher was like, yeah, I want to keep you down here if that's okay. And she was like, do you want a job? And I was like, okay, I'll take a job. But my federal work study wouldn't go through, as is federal work study. So what ended up happening was she just kept putting me in that section until my federal work study would go through.
Oh, okay.
So I learned how to read patterns a little bit better down there. I learned how to alter patterns. So I was so advanced compared to other students coming in. She gave me some projects to do on my own just to see what I could do. Right. So by the time I graduated in 2020, by the time I graduated, I kind of was just floating around because nothing was really open. We weren't doing much. I went to Atlanta for a year and did some independent film work and then came back. And my teacher then became my coworker. She asked for help in the costume shop because she was working it by herself. And so they sent for me. I came back to Nashville and she asked me if I could help her build costumes for the Nashville Opera. And I was like, sure, that sounds fun. So that's kind of, I guess, how I professionally got into it. Was my first job was with the Nashville Opera. Wow. I built a fortune cookie out of foam.
Why
it was
not?
Pretty dope.
Yeah.
It ended up in Hawaii at one point a couple years ago because they ended up touring it to Hawaii. But yeah, I ended up doing that, and through that, I met someone who had been in the local wardrobe union in Nashville. And she was really willing to like answer my questions and tell me all the things about it. And she was like, I like your work. You work really well. You're quick. You're clean. Do you want me to put your name on the list? And I was like, the list for what? And she was like, the union list. And basically it was just, you're not official, like you're not in the union, but because Tennessee is a right to work state, it gave me the opportunity to work shows if they called me that came through town. And so that's how I ended up doing it. I ended up working Aladdin when it came through Nashville in 2022, 23, something like that. And I've been doing the Broadway shows ever since.
Excellent. So when did you finally join the union?
I joined the union, let me see, I got this in July. I want to say May, either April or May of 2025, I think. It wasn't long before I got this tour in July. So, yeah, probably a couple months before July. Yeah.
Yeah. And who found you for this particular tour?
That would be Catherine. Catherine Krause. She's the supervisor, the wardrobe supervisor here. She and I actually met when she was assistant supervising on Frozen when it came through Nashville. So that's how we know each other and our paths crossed. And she texted me. I didn't even know she had my number. It was actually, it was very lovely. I thank the Lord every day for her because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just trying to figure out my next move. And then I get a text from her and I'm like, who is Catherine? Because at that point, it had been several years since we actually had seen each other.
Right,
Frozen was in town for, I think, 2 weeks, something like that. So it was one of the earlier shows that I had done. So by the time she texted me, I was like, who is this person?
But how wonderful that she remembered you.
I know. I felt very blessed. I was like,
yay,
you remembered me. I was taught to just do your work, keep your head down, do your work. Of course, be yourself, be personable, but don't work to be seen. Just do the job well, always, even if no one's watching.
Well, I see you.
Thank you. And I will say following that advice has paid off, for sure. Because regardless, it doesn't change the quality of my work.
Right.
I'm not trying to be seen. I just want to do the best that I can do at my job.
And you don't want to get caught up in the gossip and all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just do my job and I try to do it well every day, and it's paid off.
What do you think you'd like to do when this is over? Do you have any idea what's going to happen next? Or are you just waiting to see what next door opens?
I don't know what's going to happen next. Honestly, I am just, wherever the Lord wants to take me, I'm down for it. I would like to try a bigger tour because this is my first tour.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see if I like touring in general or if I just like touring small.
Right.
So I think I would want to try something a little bit bigger just to see what happens, if it's something that I enjoy, if having more work to do would be fun. With this show, because everything's so modern and it's so small, we don't have as much like workload,
right?
So we don't have day work calls or anything like that. That like a bigger
probably a
show
good thing that you started with a small thing.
Absolutely.
Because now you're so in tune, you can do something larger.
Absolutely.
Would that be something you can get through the union, or is that word of mouth?
I think it's both. I'm not exactly sure how this works.
This will be fun.
I'm still learning it out.
Me too. I'm 70 and still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out, because technically whatever show you get, it would be through the union because I'm a union member.
Right.
So I'm not 100% sure on that.
Well, Catherine's definitely gonna suggest you for another show.
So
I get that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.